product managers or leaders are becoming solopreneurs,
Yeah.
rightly so. So they are owning products that are built by them and sometimes in a very small team. So even the company of 4 people, but all of them are product centric. And we see that they're faring very well. Of
Yeah.
course, you now have AI agents that can help you accelerate that process much faster.
May add in a piece of advice if somebody is looking to make a switch from what's enterprise and feels more stable to a less and a younger, smaller company. Do not go into these companies, or don't ever go to any company with the way you have done things is always the right and best way, because I've seen folks throw names around, throw big names around when they come to the smaller companies, and they are not well received.
There has to be some room for psychological safety and developing more and more trust. So do you have a process around it? Do you have a method around it that one can follow?
Process around it, I think first, for product ops specifically, I always tell new product ops people or teams that they should outline what they are not going to be doing, so that their partners in product understand that they won't be touching things that a lot of product people are concerned.
We had Phil Hornby, who speaks a lot about product ops as well. One of the things which we pondered upon was, when do teams, young product teams, add a product ops team? At what point product management department grows or graduates to, let's have a product ops team, let's have those systems and processes.
It's been interesting coaching enterprise teams wanting to start product ops and then coaching startup teams wanting to start it. It all boils back down to what's the business goal and how are you setting yourselves up to achieve that business goal.
Hi all, welcome to the Priceless Conversation, the podcast where we navigate the art and science of product management, product operations, pricing, automation, and AI. So all product related. And I am Satya, a scientist who navigated her path into the world of AI and product management. And yes, I still use a lot of research, data from different domains to connect dots and solve problems.
Hello, everyone. This is Amit, and thank you so much, Satya. I work in product and pricing, helping teams decide what to build and how to charge for it. I ask the hard questions and share lessons from the field. Glad you're tuning in today. So a lot of us would be knowing our guest today if you've taken the product-led growth course. She's the person behind it. She is VP of Product Design and Customer Education at Userflow and Beamer. A wonderful person, a unique product leader. We have Christine Itwaru for you all.
Hello, I'm so
Hi,
excited.
Christine.
Hi.
Hi, Christine. How are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to join.
Thank you so much, Christine, for joining us today on the Priceless Conversations.
Yes, happy to.
Let's kick this off. So, Christine, you famously sketched a feature overnight, and that was to help a frustrated client of yours. We would love to know what metaphor describes that moment when you had to do things overnight.
What metaphor describes it? I don't know. I always call that my aha moment for falling into product. That was the moment that I felt, it was the moment I fell into product unofficially. So aha moment's good for me. A lot of people accidentally fall into product, a lot of people used to actually accidentally fall into product, but today it's being taught in universities and people are really trying to get into it. So before it was really formalized as something that a college or university student should want to go after. It was a blend of different roles, as we all know, right? And so that moment for me was as a product marketer and an enablement person trying to get a user to use the product and understand its value. I loved sitting there and seeing, this is going to sound so bad, seeing his pain and trying to understand what to do. And then trying to figure out how to take the pain away. So that's the good part of it. So that was my aha moment. And I realized that was really cool. So I didn't know if that was a part of what I was supposed to do as a product marketer, but that's not what my job was then. And when I told my boss about it and he put it in the product, he's like, you just did product management. So do you want to keep doing it? And I was like, okay, sure. I like this. So that was my aha moment. It was a turning point for me, for sure.
Well, you've been into product for a while, and you're one of the foremost leaders in product management. You have a course, you built the products team, and you kind of have navigated this personal and professional career and family amazingly well. You when you came back from your maternity leave in 2013, how did that movement redefine your leadership, your relationship with leaders, risk, and more importantly, motherhood?
Yeah, I had my first daughter in 2013. Her name's Aria. So she's now 12 years old. Yeah, so it's this is a nice natural progression. The when I fell into product by drawing that back of the paper napkin solution that we just talked about, my boss Ed saw he said, I think I see something where you love to solve problems and you're really great at this stuff, and it's good because you have this empathy for the user. So let's continue to hone in on that. But I got back, it was June 6th, 2013. I remember the date. And I was working at a company called Jeffries in New York, and small little tech team doing product. And he said, okay, welcome back. And we got a lot to do on the product, but also I want to make you manager of our customer support team. And I was like, what?
Oh my.
So, that's 3 months after having Aria. And it was really earth shaking for me, to say the least, because I was really afraid coming back to my team to figure out how I can learn about anything that I've missed, how I can get back into the fold. As a first-time mom, it was very difficult at a place in an investment bank to try to make sure that you're keeping your presence, and culturally everybody's still looking at you as a good product person, good product leader. It is true what they say, women do go out on maternity leave, and unfortunately when they do return, it's a bit of a different way of embracing this person. So that was one challenge in itself, and taking on a team of 3 men who were managing all of the inbound was a
Yeah.
lot. And then managing that with a newborn baby was a lot. But I did remember being quite emotional when this happened because I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to do it. And Ed sat me down and he told me, you got this. I know you got this. If you didn't have it in you to do this, I wouldn't come to you. And if this doesn't work, then it's on me. And I think that was so incredible as a manager for him to say
Wow.
that. Yeah, he said, I see this in you. I know we can do this. I got you. But if it doesn't work, it's okay. I made this choice. And it's really hard to find good managers like that. He is definitely always somebody that I refer back to publicly and like always saying like that is gold star for somebody that you want to work for, because he changed
We need more managers like Ed.
he changed he changed the in general by putting that faith in me and saying, not only do we want you to continue to learn product and help build it here at this investment bank that doesn't understand the concept of product management, but also I want you to lead this group of humans who are going to continue to try to do their best so that our internal teams are continuing to make money for the business, which is great. So I was quickly able to distill it down into what it's those core jobs that I need to do now. Well, first and foremost, it's to be a great mom and to be present for my daughter. So I needed to set expectations that these are my boundaries. And again, having a great boss who accepts those things is very important. And then the second was to set expectations with my team as a first-time manager, that I'm a first-time manager and that I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to do this with them. Just the fact that he said he would take ownership if things didn't go right planted that seed, and it sprouted really quick for me to say that all the time. Like, this doesn't go right, it's going to fall back on me as your manager. And then third is making sure that they're successful, because then it drives the business success, right? So I don't know, hopefully that answers your question, but it was crazy time and it definitely planted some seeds that have grown since then.
It sounds like you have got the right mix of empathy and a manager who can empower you at the same time, and that also you've distilled in yourself.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful for every manager I've had who has operated in that fashion. And I think you learn a lot from every manager. The best lessons I've learned are from the managers who I don't want to be like.
Yes.
Like you want to take from the ones that you aspire to be like, little bits of them, but you definitely want to keep front and center what you don't want to be. when you encounter one that doesn't empower teams and doesn't empower collaboration.
Absolutely. And this also comes with the own set of transitions, own set of morphoses from one kind of team to another. And you have gone through quite such changes. For example, transitioning from enterprise environments to startups. And this can be quite different to how people who have not gone through would know. So how would you describe such a transition? More so around risk, more so around empowerment or autonomy and human first teamwork that you've been there.
I thought about this very recently, and it's so funny to me because, I think a lot of people are encouraged to take these risks earlier in their career and do the startup thing and grind. You don't have kids and you don't have these responsibilities. And for me, being a New Yorker with very strict parents who were very worried about stability all the time, they're like, this is what you need to do. And this is where you need to be and stay because it's stable and go for the big companies and blah, blah, blah. And that's what I started with, but then it wasn't fun. Like it just, to me, I spend so much time working. Why can't I also find something that's fun to do? All right. And so I think it's funny if I have to chart my career and then the risk, like it's like, it's like you start high on like the size of the company and you go down to like the startup. And then I start here in terms of risk level and then I go up and then my age is still like going up. So I don't know, like I think maybe that's a way of saying it's worth taking a risk on the companies that you feel are going to allow you to do meaningful work, especially when we think about the tech space today. Obviously, you want to look for something that's safe, and everybody's situation is very different. So everybody has to be conscious of taking care of themselves and their families. But I am often told by my mom that I'm insane for taking more jobs or going for smaller companies. But I also am like, I love what I do, and I truly believe that the money and all of this will follow if you are able to find your passion and you're able to deliver value out to the world, right? And for me, it's more value into the product community that I want to continue to deliver product and growth communities. So I don't know. I think I had to it definitely was nerve-wracking.
How was it, Christine?
It was definitely
because
scary. Yeah.
So, with enterprises, you have this long GTM cycles, you have product releases and multi-year, multi-tiered roadmaps, and you're working with multiple stakeholders
Yeah.
to take the smallest of decisions. And then here you are at startups where you're probably the owner of the product, as this, or the CEO of the product, as they say. How did the transition feel for you?
Yeah, that's where I'm going, is like it's insane. I think in some ways, because I started with structure in those enterprise companies early in my career, it gave me an appreciation for structure. But as I moved into the startup world where everybody, you're all going and lines are blurry, it helped me to give guidance versus be very process and very like rigid, right? Process oriented and rigid. So I'm happy that that was my path. I'm happy that I went from rigid, and you're right. The way you said is perfect. Like little decisions take so long to make. That was a turning point in my career too, was when a company I was working for was acquired and we went from, a couple like 4,000 people to like 14,000 people overnight. And I just started feeling that itch as the director of product there, thinking now I can't even get this tooling signed off on because this company is so big. And that was my push to be like, okay, I'm going to go now to what is a startup because yeah, it's like a rip out. But that's a great question.
Yeah. And this was before Pendo
That was
happened.
how I got to Pendo. Was I went from so I went from a company that was larger, that when they got acquired, I said, oh, and I said, you know what, this might be the right time for me to do this. And I'm lucky that was the moment, because I also fell deeply in love with, this goes back to the passion. I felt like product was the thing I wanted to be doing. And a company that is building product for the world is like a wonderful company to start that kind of journey in. So that's how that all happened. But going back to like the core of it, the risk is bigger when you're the smaller company. I'd say that was definitely the case earlier in my career. Today, however, we're watching all these companies start to be born and take off within, I mean, look at Lovable, 8 months.
Yes.
Yes.
story. Now that everybody's not lovable, right? But I do think that there's magic happening where with the right minds in product and growth and tech coming together at a company and passion for what you're doing, you could be in a better position. You probably will be in a better position in one of these companies in this world today versus a long-standing company that's doing massive layoffs. So, and again, don't take everybody who's listening, don't take that for, the record, like for you to go, it's your risk level, but that's what
Yes.
tech is shaped up to be like, right? So, yeah.
And increasingly, what we are also seeing is people who are product people or product managers or leaders are becoming solopreneurs,
Yeah.
rightly so. So they are owning products that are built by them and sometimes in a very small team. So even the company of 4 people, but all of them are product centric. And we see that they're faring very well. Of
Yeah.
course, you now have AI agents that can help you accelerate that process much faster. But I think your suggestion would be very important to those who are looking to switch or who have certain stability but need that a little push that yes, a risk for some time and then come back to that.
I will also, if I may, like add in a piece of advice if somebody is looking to make a switch from what's enterprise and feels more stable to a less and like a younger, smaller company. Do not go into these companies or don't ever go to any company with the way you have done things is always the right
Yeah.
and best way, because like I've seen folks throw names around, like throw big names around when they come to the smaller companies and they are not well received at all, right?
Yeah.
Everybody changes with the time. Like the world changes all the time. And so I think the best way to move into an environment like that is to accept that you're learning something new and lean on your experience. If something feels like, oh, this feels familiar, we could try this. But don't solidify things until you, yeah, it's just not the right way to bring yourself into a new space.
Absolutely.
Just to add that you spoke about risk and solopreneur, and there's a solopreneur in this call as well. So she was a scientist and moved into product management.
I love it.
Trying to do step by step, month by month, but I'm really enjoying this process. I love it.
You're enjoying it. Satya, you've learned a lot, right? Being coming from Springer and bigger companies. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, and I completely resonate with what Christine said, from signing off from a small things to that might take ages till when you have to take your own decisions and it might be instantaneous. Yeah. So
Well, so
Christine, go ahead.
so Christine, you've built the user flows product team,
Yep.
and before that, you built the product ops team at Pendo as well. How
Yep.
was it different the second time, or probably maybe to put it in this way, do your sticky notes from prod ops at Pendo translate into product management teams at Userflow and Beamer?
I think building teams. Well, first, I went from Pendo to a company called Vitally, which was customer success.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and then from Vitally to Userflow Beamer. But built teams from when I was back at the company before Pendo, which was iPrio. And I think there are core principles. So product ops or product management, I just think that building teams comprised of good humans is the same thing everywhere. And for product people, it all starts with empathy. So I know it sounds cliche to say, but it's the truth. And so whether you're building a product team that's got to show empathy for every single stakeholder, but first customers. That's the first core principle. And like the second thing is making sure that they all get along with each other and that they're fighting for each other and fighting with each other to do the best thing for our customers. And if you're building a product ops team, it's the same thing. It's building that deep empathy for the discipline of product that is shifting every single day in this tech space and building deeper empathy for the humans behind it and trying to find a way to put some calm to the chaos around what's happening, right? Like before the boom with AI, there was already chaos in every company. I say this, that there's the product team and then there's the go-to-market teams and there's a messy middle in between, and that's where product ops does its best work. It's like figuring out how how to get those lines straight or directionally where they need to go, and clearing up any sort of communication errors or anything like that. So I think whether you're building product or product ops, there are just core things that people need to figure out and or to stick to, which is empathy for certain places, certain people, love for certain things. So I do think that product ops people, for example, need to deeply love and appreciate the way product managers need to be creative. They need to embrace that it does need to be a little chaotic. So with that, that means that they should not be rigid. And you have to look for that in a product ops team. When you're building a product ops team, rigidity doesn't work. It's like a common misconception that product ops people are process police and product cops. One of my old product ops people used to say we're the prod cops, and I'm like, no, we're not the prod cop. He was the prod cop because all the systems all connected and nothing could go down integration wise. So we needed him to be the prod cop. As it relates
And
to,
that could go down in a real different direction, bad cop, good cop. So,
yeah, absolutely. But as it relates to the systems you build, product and product ops teams need to work together to make sure that they are strong but flexible to create value for customers and to create structure for internal people. So I look for people that have both delivered and pushed business metrics really strongly when I'm building product teams, in a way that is collaborative with the rest of the organization, in a way that is what's the word, growth mindset is what I look for. Growth oriented growth mindset in the way that they're willing to be challenged, they're willing to constantly try something new. As an example, today my team and I are thinking about, okay, the old playbook for PRDs and getting requirements, it's gone. Like we can't use that anymore. This is not how we build. I don't even know if we need a PRD anymore. Like, it's just, do we just figure out from Lovable how we build this thing, and then we have a great conversation, we write. So there's just flexibility that needs to happen. And I think as long as the goal is to drive customer value and to do it with the team that you love, then that's what people should be focusing on. However, driving business outcomes is obviously primary, right? So everybody needs to be focused and be able to prove that this is what they have done and what they will continue to do.
So flexibility also is important when there are some guardrails around it, because then we don't tend to go or fare away too far. So in your product ops playbook, and by using all the modern tools, what are still, let's say, 3 core principles or 3 core responsibilities that would remain no matter how flexible you become?
Great question. First and foremost is deeply understanding qualitative and quantitative data that is basically driving your voice of customer program or your voice of customer package that you would deliver to product teams. That just at its core, it's feedback is what makes product worlds go round, right? We don't know if we're doing well without customer feedback. And so that's number one. Number two is really solid communication with go-to-market teams and really well-designed communication channels and sources of truth for them. So that eliminates any sort of confusion around what's coming up on the product roadmap. It makes sure that there's centralized repositories for understanding what product is building and what has been built, how they can learn. And it's also just helping them to get the best out to their customers or out to our customers in general. That's two. And I would say the third is one that's risen in my list. And I think it's because of where we are today as a community of product and growth people. It's deep appreciation for the ecosystem, like the SaaS ecosystem, and understanding how your product team and your tech teams, like understanding what's best for their tech stack in order to fuel the business, and really helping and partnering with other ops teams like tech ops or IT infrastructure or whatever it is, to make sure that these systems are up and running at all given points in time, and that there's some structure around them so that the teams can just go, the teams can just move. That's more like tactical operational stuff, right? But I think that that's necessary today, because if you just kind of like leave it off into the wind, everybody's going to go and try a tool and try a tool and try a tool and try a tool. And while that's fine, there are so many of them. You really should have somebody who understands what exists today, where the business is going, what potential gaps exist for the team, and then how we can potentially weave tooling together, consolidate anything like that. So I think that's another one that I'm thinking through lately is actual systems, right?
And there is something with product ops, which is an underlying current, which is trust across different
Yes.
functions, across functionalities.
Mhm.
How do you ensure that with all the messy middle, with all the uncertainties around it, there has to be some room for psychological safety and developing more and more trust. So do you have a process around it? Do you have a method around it that one can follow to create that?
I don't have a process around it. I think first for product ops specifically, I always tell new product ops people or teams that they should outline what they are not going to be doing so that their partners in product understand that they won't be touching things that a lot of product people are concerned that they would be touching. I'm a former PM. If somebody comes in and says, I am now new, and like the role is more solidified now and more normalizing in product ops, but there's still a little bit of like, oh my gosh, like this is something a product manager should do. So first is creating a good partnership that then shows like I'm doing this for the sake of the business and here's what I'm not doing because I respect this is, part of your role. And it's not what I'm accountable for, right? I think the other thing is building a deep empathy for go-to-market teams and helping them. What I did back at the last two companies was paint a picture for go-to-market of the product development lifecycle as it was back then, of actual visual on Miro, where the board
Wow.
just kept going. It just
Wonderful.
started with it's
Yeah.
funny. I did this. I started with just these are the inputs, right? And then I just zoomed out and then I remember one of our sales guys was like, "Whoa, what is that?" And I said, "That's the entire product development process. Do you want me to go
Wow.
through it?" And so he was like, "Wow." And I think it just showed them that on the product side, you can bring the ideas, but just understand that there's 1,000 of them coming in at the same time. We need to, at the end of the day, at the end of that, deliver the most value for the customer. So this is what we do to get there, right? And so that helped build empathy from the go-to-market team to product. Now, on the flip side, I always tell my product managers and the product design team, everybody overall, know your audience. That is a piece of advice that a gentleman I mentioned, Ed, gave me when I started in that management role. He said, know your
Wow.
audience, because salespeople are billable and they only have a certain amount of time to do things and learn from you. Customer success people are being yelled at probably all the time.
Yes.
And so it is really important for you to approach with caution and approach prepared, because you have limited time to get them to understand what you need them to. So I think that is how we make room for psychological safety across organizations, is to help them understand each other a little bit more and then set expectations on what everybody is responsible for and not responsible for.
Just go ahead, Satya.
So this reminds me of an example one of my sales colleague has given us. So we were releasing a database, and so we were all product people talking to the sales team. This is the greatest product on the earth and all. And then sales team member, very senior person, told me that product managers are like chef in the kitchen,
Okay.
and salespeople are waiters at whom maybe if the customers don't like it, they will throw the food at us and not at the chef.
That's
So
right.
it's important that chef also know who is sitting at the table.
I love that. I've lived by that in product. That product is like making a dish, because it's something that you can perfect and it's loved for a very long time, or it's something that everybody's palate takes a little bit of time to get used to, so you could have different flavors of it and different versions of it. But the customer feedback are the ingredients that you get to play around with to deliver the dish, right? So I always love to use cooking for product as well.
Well, so this double tapping on product ops, and we had Phil Hornby, who speaks a lot about product ops as well. One of the things which we pondered upon was, when do teams, young product teams, add a product ops team? At what point the product management department grows or graduates to, let's have a product ops team, let's have those systems and processes monitored? What would be your advice to young product leaders who are, who have about 3-4 product managers and now want to add in those systems and processes? Or do we even have them from the start or day one?
My answer to this is always it depends. I mean, like it's been interesting coaching enterprise teams wanting to start product ops and then coaching startup teams wanting to start it. It all boils back down to what's the business goal and how are you setting yourselves up to achieve that business goal? If there are, oh, also, how does the company operate today in terms of giving people the space to do the thing that they need to do, right? So I have rarely met a product manager who has told me that they have space to think like just on a normal basis. Maybe think about it a day. I know I don't. My product managers probably don't. So we developed something called Focus Friday, where
Okay.
we have the teams do that, but that's a separate topic. To answer your question, is it always boils down to the business and where the company is trying to go. And so there was a time when a lot of people grew product ops because businesses started to grow rapidly. So scale needed to be front and center to be able to serve massive amounts of customers. And they recognized that without operationalizing excellence for the product team, they couldn't deliver and they couldn't get things out in a rapid manner. So that was one example of why teams would want to move to product ops. That though went from honestly like that I saw across both startup and enterprise companies. They just recognized that there was a need to do better and serve the customer differently, and the product ops piece was what was missing, right? For enterprise companies, I also have seen a trend where it's companies going through digital transformation or now AI transformation, where they're looking to set up some sort of norm and process and system around the product team to protect them and help them move into a newer era in tech. Now it's not AI transformation, not digital transformation anymore. So they lean on these people to set up the systems, set up the guardrails. And for smaller 3 to 4 product managers, I'm actually starting to hit this point now, to be quite honest with you, with my team. I have 3 product managers. My situation is I've got teams in India and teams in the US. And so I'm trying to make sure the core word for me, alignment, is happening. That's where my big need would be for a product ops person if I decide to bring one in now. I've operated without one. I've gone back to feeling the pain as a VP of product, doing product ops myself here and putting some of that on my product managers, right? So you operate a certain way until you realize that, whoa, we are about to, thankfully at Userflow, like we're about to hit a point of like, wait, there's so much really like cool stuff coming out. Our customers have been doing like we've hit a different point now. I need somebody to come in and make sure that everything's on the rails and everybody's talking to each other and learning. So there's no right answer. I think it's really what's going on with the business and the space that your product team has to do the right things in the right systems.
Super, Christine. So let's move to the future aspects of your work, and we have some questions around your future work, and maybe around AI related questions. That is, we can't escape those questions anymore. So you have had the wealth of knowledge on product ops, right from in big companies to the startups. And very recently, you have endorsed a book from Ramil John, and we would like to know, and we are curious whether you would be one day authoring a book on product ops.
Well, that goes back to the image I showed of like the risk and you talk about small, right? That's a team of one. But I don't know. I do love writing, right? I cite, but I have often thought about it. I don't know if it would be product ops specific, but it would probably be product ops heavy.
Mhm.
But I do. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
So, what's ahead for product ops? AI augmented product ops, embedded ops communities, or what's coming up in the whole new product ops department?
Yeah. The best product ops people I'm seeing today that reach out are showing me really cool use cases of how they're leaning on AI to help their teams move faster. And that is beautiful. It's awesome. When it all started, I don't remember when. It feels like it's been so long already. Everybody's afraid of all the things. And I keep saying, yes, there's shifts. And unfortunately, companies do have to do layoffs here and there. But I don't think a company sets out, hopefully, to, at the end of the day, say, I want to let go of 50% of your workforce. Like, that is not the goal, right? I do think that the right ones are looking at tooling to help them do their job smarter and help them free up time to have the human component be front and center with their jobs. I just recently spoke to Jarisha Nadaraju, who does the Product Ops podcast, and we were talking about how things are shifting in product ops. And I think people can use tooling, both product and product ops people, to, get a fast answer and get things out the door with speed, or they can use tooling to enhance their power and enhance their capability. And yes, it's going to be faster, but it's also like something that you have to check to make sure things are right, things are accurate. You can ask GPT something 5 times, and 5 times the answer will be different. And so it's really important to lean into the right, proper tooling. There's some great tools out there right now delivering really good things to product people. So I think it's going to be augmented. A simple example I can give you is when my team and I started product ops like 7-ish, 8 years ago, right back at Pendo. One of the things we did very manually was manual categorization of NPS responses and verbatim. Yeah, and it's under 10 years ago now, right? But we used to deliver this report with insights to leadership to say, here are categories, here's what we should potentially be focusing on. And today it can be done in seconds. And so that then frees up the team to empower cross-functional conversations and collaboration around what the right things are for customers to see from the product team. You can deliver all the data and you can synthesize all the data and say, here it is. But then the magic happens for customers when the company's aligned to what the right thing is and how they're going to talk about it and how they're going to sell it, how they're going to position it. That doesn't happen today with just throwing something in GPT or Perplexity or any of those tools, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's one looming question that we have been getting also from our communities, that the NPS metrics itself would change given that the footfall or people visiting a website is going down. Because most of the information that they're getting is from the GPTs or Perplexities of the world. Are you also seeing such changes?
In our website traffic? No, not so much. We're watching it because it's very interesting. I was talking to one of our marketing guys about this. There was definitely a little point in which when you Google something, the summaries are taking over the links, right? And so that has shifted now. And I forgot what the example was that he gave us, but it's leading to more of the content that we're producing, that at least for the communities that we serve, they're more interested in learning and the content piece behind it, which then kind of points people to your website, right? And so I may be sharing a little secret that we just learned there, but I think maybe we saw a tiny little dip, like a lot of companies did, in traffic inbound directly from Google when they started to summarize. But I actually don't think that it's dipping to the point where I'm too concerned. Yeah. I hope the next time we speak, that's not, it's going to be the same answer. So we'll see.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, right.
So we've seen that there's product teams and then there are go-to-market teams, and both of these teams have sometimes different priorities and different OKRs. Have you seen any and there's some friction between these two teams? Does product ops help neutralize this friction? Have you seen, what has been your observations around product ops helping there between product and GTM teams and helping them out?
Yeah, there's the core tenets, which is like alignment and transparency. That's what product ops should bring to a good product ops team, or person should bring those two elements to the table all the time. So the transparency comes with creation of systems where data is easily accessible and updates are easily accessible, training is easily accessible, why they're doing something is easily accessible, right? And then the alignment comes from having the proper conversations at the right time. So you think about the teams that are standing up enablement meetings and deep technical trainings and all that stuff to empower the go-to-market teams to do their best work. And then also things like voice of customer programs and those kinds of meetings. So I think if you anchor your work to those two things, those two tenets, like alignment and transparency, you will create that collaboration across go-to-market and product. Because yes, you're right, there's always like a push-pull. Also, a great leadership team should be able to align an entire organization to one core thing that everybody should be marching towards. And this goes beyond product, I'm about to say, like, I do believe that being really careful, especially in startup teams, who you're bringing in terms of personality is just as important as what they're going to be able to do, because very quickly somebody can turn the ship into something else Even if everybody's trying to align to the one goal, it's really important to be intentional about who you're bringing in for your first, I would say 20 specifically, to create this vibe and create that culture that you want to have where people are transparent with each other. But for product ops specifically, the best ones, when companies are growing, they're moving into scale or enterprise and are trying to stand up product ops, the first thing they work on is that transparency element. And then the transparency that ties back to the company why.
And coming to the most important question, Christine, how can our audience reach out to you?
Well, you can get me on LinkedIn always, and you can follow, I'm on Substack. So if you ever want to read up on anything that I've written on, or I'm about to try to put some more content out, it's theproductheart.com. And yeah, that's the best way.
Yes, we will include those links in our YouTube description.
Cool. Sounds good.
Well, it's wonderful having you on the podcast. Yeah.
Thank you. This is awesome.
This was
It's
amazing because I am not from the core product ops and have not worked in a team before, in a product ops team, but I've learned a lot from people who are operating at that level, because there's a lot of interpersonal skills one need to know, a lot of empathy, and a whole lot of understanding of different functions. I think we underestimate quite a lot of times that thing. Thank you so much for your insights.
Yeah, no worries. I loved it. Thank you for letting me join.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. For our audience, stay curious, stay connected, and always keep building what matters.